Good evening, pre-all crowd, and ETF2L's own 6 vs 6 Season 51, Winter 2026. We get down with them boys in the lower bracket final. It is MANDEM versus the team that made all of us master the lore of Minecraft, the Ender Pearls. Yet I'm not alone in the hood. We have the Maximum J on the turntables, and Ben, progressively lenient in joining this competitive cypher with me. Ben, it seems that yesterday's upper bracket final was no fever dream after all, and now the Pearls, the Ender Pearls, have to bear the consequences. What happened?
That was, well, I will say honestly, right? Process and Products were like normal actual TF2 games. Metalworks was, it was like something out of this world. It genuinely, I looked at the log and I was like, this was only 28 minutes. I genuinely felt like I'd been sat there for 3 hours. It was quite frankly unwatchable. It was MANDEM just throwing themselves at Maggot's last for, I think, 25 of the 28 minutes. Just constant round resets. It was it was the like anti-football of TF2. It was rough. And MANDEM paid the price, right? They go into Products as the third map. Bit of a capitulation there as well, but Maggot's now, sailing free. They're up in the grand final. And that leaves MANDEM in what we see to be quite a familiar place for them. Looking back at some of their previous seasons, winning the season out top of the table, lose the upper bracket final, and now in the lower bracket final, 1 game away from elimination. And, history might repeat itself. MANDEM with the top seeds coming in, but it's happened before.
It can happen again. We see the graphic, though, here provided on the screen, and MANDEM...
There's no Metalworks.
Team A, yes, not only that, Ben, but also the Ender Pearls banning Metalworks for MANDEM, and also them banning Product for MANDEM. So basically the torrent time not unleashed here. They're just, providing sunshine to us here. Ender Pearls, that is their first pick. Granary after that is the pick by MANDEM, and the decider will be Process. In the regular games in stages of this season in week 2, they had a battle 5-0 on Process and 5-0 on Sunshine. So the Ender Pearls, I think they have a steep mountain, but honestly, if it's any team, then it is going to be that team.
I think as well, one thing to note is that game was all the way back in week 2. That was a long time ago. And remember, this Ender Pearls roster, this roster has gone through so many iterations pre-season. I think the roster had only been together for about 1 to 2 weeks when that first offie happened, the 5-0-5-0. So now looking at it, they brought Mathers in a soldier as well, who's a new addition since that game. I think the Ender Pearls are kind of stepping up as the season goes on. They get more used to playing with each other. And I think yesterday they had quite a good performance in Odomator in that lower bracket game.
Definitely, and what I like is that you provide the storyline of MANDEM faltering away against Dirty Maggots, and I realize once more, just because you play for 3 hours, it doesn't mean you have more action than the 2 teams that play for 90 minutes. Because those 90 minutes, Samurais versus Ender Pearls, probably packed more of a punch than MANDEM versus Dirty Maggots if you just...
It was a great game.
All quick in it, yeah, it was fantastic, honestly, and the Samurais could have even pushed it to the 3rd map, but anyway, we have... Well, shouted out MANDEM. They also have a lot of players definitely rooting for them. I bet offline come Poland and online come this lower bracket final. Boulder and Zoe on the scout classes. I was today years old when I realized the Zoe is Inzo and he switched back his own name. Then Hans and Ryan on the soldier pair. Fancy on Demolition Guy. Strap in for LAN as well. He will be there. And June on Medic. And the Ender Pearls, Ben, who do we have to deal with on that squadron?
We've got Andy Nicky on Scouts, Mathers Rocher on Soldier, Luca Enderman Demo, and Auto Medic. For possibly the last time, if this one goes badly, I think Auto is going to have looking into the future seasons, maybe some other teammates to go back to over on Witness Gaming. But I just want to point something out. Is it me? Or is that's not fancy on Demo, is it? I don't think.
I cannot see it.
I think Demul is in the server.
Demul is in the server, okay.
This is a shock if this is true. They were pre-game screaming with Demul, so it's possible. I just assumed that Fancy was like busy or something. It was going to come back, but if this is like a pre-LAN dodge, this is crazy.
I was not going to feed into that, but now you did.
I'll do it. I don't care. But no, honestly, Demul rolling back the years on Demo. When was the last time I saw Demul playing Demo? He's been more of a soldier player the last few years, but I don't know, the pre-game scrim looked like it was going pretty well, and I don't know, looking at like the rest of this roster, even with this change, I think that there's still heavy favourites coming in. Like you say, he's listed all the names, you can wax lyrical about any of them. But no, it's a bit of a shock if they're without their regular demo man.
I'm going to be perfectly honest. I mean, you can roll back the times all you want, but I dare anyone to raise their hand unironically, also even accounting, for example, Wan in the chat, but unironically and say, okay, Dimul is better than Fancy. That is not the case. So if something happens here, especially on form, you have one, maybe they have already shoved one player in so they can blame that player if some things happen.
Yeah, this is like a bit of an unfortunate thing that happened to MANDEM a couple of times now, because I remember back in season 49, they played their upper bracket game against Witness, lost to Witness. And I was like, okay, fine, they're playing 4th in the lower bracket final. But like, I think they had 2 mercs for that game because their availability on the playoff weekend wasn't great, and I think that's when they had like Fancy come in on Scout. I think for that game, it was wild. It was wild, but like it's something that has plagued them a couple of times in the past. Just like when there's these set fixture deadlines or these fixture dates, on them on playoffs, and it's the brutal reality, right? This is why teams have subs. This is why like Demul's already been subbing in on Soldier a lot earlier this season, so it's an obvious person to turn to. But it's still a little bit unlucky if you're a MANDEM.
I mean, we had a lot of meta talk here. Honestly, maybe that ends in a soonish time. Let's start very concretely speaking. I mean, the Ender Pearls, they definitely need to have a plan here to proactively pick Sunshine.
Yeah, their Sunshine looked good yesterday, honestly. I think we obviously saw them win that first map out. I believe it was their pick as well, picking it once again on their low bracket game. And I was impressed. I was particularly impressed with Luca Enderman. I thought Luca had a fantastic game, and that's not just in the damage department. That's also in these Ubers he was taking aggressively every time. It felt like him and Auto were really on the same wavelength, and they were catching out so many players. And I think that's going to be a big driving factor. A map like Sunshine, you can really, especially to last as well, you can fly through some of those doorways. I think Luca did that really well last time around. But yeah, it's a tough battle. Obviously, I'm not sure anyone's going to argue that MANDEM is a stronger opponent than the Samurai were yesterday. But I think I think anyone thinks it could be a 5-0 roll, like the previous game they played earlier in the season. I think that has to go to the back of everyone's heads, because then this is a different scenario.
I will just say, since you can bet metal in the chat, if you put it on one sort of team, on one militia, on one battle group, you might have a better recourse than the other way around. So this is not even any advice here. But yeah, we are still waiting our sweet time. I just want to bring in how harsh sometimes the statistics were. I mean, you know, MANDEM won everything in the regular sort of stages, only one tie in it against the Samurais, suffering on product, but only one loss can already, just put you on the spot of elimination if it happens in the playoff stages.
Yeah, we'll have to see. I'm not sure what way the gambling is swinging currently, but in terms of predictions, I still think MANDEM are going to win it. However much of a storyline it would be if they wouldn't.
The question is, how long does that take?
Oh no, I know. I think it'll go all the way into like the infinite overtime. I don't think it's going to take. Well, I don't want to say too much and get like Caster's curse, but I don't see this going on for a stupid amount of time. I think both these teams showed yesterday they're like willing to play the game of Team Fortress 2, unlike Dirty Maggots we saw yesterday. Like in that like the game you saw on Sunshine against the Samurai, like Enderpearls and Samurai were flipping back and forth the whole time. They're confident on 2 picks up on Sunshine. They're going to fly forward. They'll try and recapture second. And yeah, I think maybe we'll have like a 40-minute game or something. I think it'll be reasonably close. But I can't like bet on anyone except MANDEM winning this realistically.
I want to be the one who hears the Cassandra calls. Maybe we end up with 1 hour on each map. I'm all for it.
Oh, don't say it.
Let's hype this up a little bit. We have so much time until the grand final, Ben. We have 4 hours easily.
Yeah, it's obviously possible with this progressive rule set, and which I guess, to be fair, we should probably explain to anyone who's like freshly just watching European games, hasn't seen any RGL, Lost Fortress, Asia Fortress, any of the other regions that are running the progressive timer. The rules are going to be there's 25 minutes of gameplay, and after 25 minutes, the required rounds to win is like whatever the highest team is +1. So, for example, it's 2-1 going into 25 minutes. It's first of 3 rounds that wins. you'll notice there isn't a limit on how long the game can last. It can last theoretically forever. Will it last forever? We don't know. But that's the thing with these playoff games. They could last a long time if it's particularly close, if it's particularly slow burning. You know, like that Metalworks game yesterday felt like it well could have lasted forever. But you know, so far like the games yesterday were all pretty reasonably timed, and I think with these two teams, I'm confident they're gonna you know just fight each other and actually you know make the game progress at a reasonable pace. Have you just seen who's joined the server, Tomato?
Bring Fancy back. Demo out, Fancy back. They've watched the stream. Maybe they were a little bit surprised. There was an interloper in their squadron. Dimul just snuck in without anyone noticing. But I wanted to add, by the way, only diamonds are forever, and diamonds can be found in Minecraft, and that already is my headcanon here. This is why the Ender Pearls should revel in this forever scenario. But no, I mean, Fancy maybe waking up, maybe he doesn't want anyone talking about dodging experiences.
Yeah, absolutely, and it is a big change. I was saying before, like Demul is capable of playing demo to a Premiership level, but Fancy's something else, right? He's one of the top players in the world at his class. Going to be coming to his first ever LAN next week. Going to be absolutely incredible to see what he can do there. But it's good to know, you know, they got both their rosters in. I didn't want the scenario like season 49 where there's like mercs galore in playoffs. It's never nice to see.
I mean, obviously, for the playoff stages, you need to have your full combatants. You have to have everyone log in. Yes, it's only offline. Yes, it's only online. Offline can also be a bit more important. But I mean, I've been tippy-toeing around. I'm always giving, or even then giving, the Sunshine map here, most probably to MANDEM. But I'm saying we are here for at least 40 minutes. Also, the pregame seemed to be forever, but in 30 seconds, Twitch chat, you can end your talk and you can focus your vocal point on this very matchup. And again, I'm just saying, let's see for how long we're in this span. Let's go.
Yeah, we'll have to see. We saw yesterday differing fortunes for these two teams. Ender Pearls, the great win early on. Heartbreak for MANDEM in the upper bracket final. But it's do or die for these two teams. Map number 1, it's Sunshine at this, the low bracket final of the 51st European Team Fortress 2 League season. In the blue, we've got MANDEM, and in the red, we have the Ender Pearls. Or do we? Because have we paused as the rollout is about to start?
We do not.
You can't do that. Like
we don't.
Oh,
you know, actually, yes, but no.
What's happened this time?
MANDEM have something in the switch up, apparently, is what the actual view guy, JMax that is in my ear, is telling me. But at least we see the timer tick down here. But do not fret, do not worry, don't worry. It doesn't tick down in real time. So we will have the full enjoyment of the 25 minutes plus X.
Yeah, that like I've never had the timing line up that perfectly with the start of a round before. That is absolutely hilarious. We can see like literally, I think one player on the Ender Pearls, you can see from the screen, has left the spawn. There is literally just Mathers is the only one who's escaped the spawn door. That's it.
Is that cheating? Oh, there we go, though. We reassume this wonderful fight. It has taken us so long, but once more, MANDEM here in the blue, and the red faction is the Ender Pearls. Luca Animan rolling out from his own green area, and let's enter the lower bracket final.
Here we go. See who's the first one to push. Looks like Horn's going to jump in aggressively alongside Ryan as well. Big damage landing on Luca Enderman and Andy Mathers all falling on the red side, but Rocha in trying to salvage it onto June and hits it. What a rocket that was.
That was a crazy rocket. Only Otto, the only lone sole survivor with the head play. He had the heads up to leave early enough, but only June really falling, and that nets MANDEM the very first mid-fight win of this lower bracket final.
The only real question is, does it net them second as well? We've got aggressive traps up from Fancy. We've got Zoe capping up the point. It is going to flip into the blue, but for how long? Ender Pearls thinking about getting their way back in, actually going to start aging the cap, and yet MANDEM completely respect this. They're all the way out themselves, all the way out into mid, and it's maybe quite a lot of respect to give, actually, because look at the Uber charges. It's 50% advantage still for Auto, and I think the Ender Pearls want to just fly in.
They want to fly in, and already Mathis is spreading his wings and taking flight here, eventually zooming out one rocket into a scout that was hiding close. Also, Nikki has 1v1 there. Basically, June is dead, though the drop, or even close to that. I mean, Otto still has 100% in the bank. I think this is where the pause comes in, sorry.
That's unfortunate timing there with that killing onto June. The Ender Pearls looking really strong, and the best bit is for them is that Auto didn't have to use the Ubercharge. They can just keep this one waltzing forward, and we see Mathis, we see Andy all jumping through, trying to get in onto second, and there's no one home. There's no one to defend this. There's literally just Boulder on the sniper. Is that a bizarre bargain from Boulder as well? I think they maybe hadn't changed up the MVM loadout quickly enough, but it looks like an Uber-ad push, literally flying around the corner.
He was a huntsman early enough, but now we leap into this 100% Uber push here. Luca Edelman is already propelling himself very much forward here into aggressive players walking out, but Mathis is the first to fall. Only a sentry gun down, so full 100% squadron up still here for the blue team. Boulder is falling down, and this last push is thwarted.
It's thwarted, and I think everyone is just going to try and
Ryan and Hans are still chasing!
Yeah, they're trying to go for it. They actually got this. Auto goes down incredibly late. Luca Enderman trying to get out from underneath, and this is going to be a really awkward scenario for these last remaining players. Luca, yeah, gets absolutely nothing underneath. Great hold from Mandem, and it didn't really feel like there was any doubt there. It never felt like there was even a world where he could have lost that hold.
I have a Freaky Friday scenario, by the way. When you recall the game from yesterday, June had a really bad time just starting it, like going down 5, 6, 7 times, and once more it starts with her basically dropping, but once more we leap now into a secondary mid-fight if you want to calculate it like that. Annie is in a forward spawn here on the sniper, doesn't really find a favorable angle, nothing to budge off. Comportment still kept alive. Concretely speaking, June features a 60 to 50% Uber advantage.
Yeah, and she'll be looking to use it here in through the cafe, just getting everyone buffed up, getting everyone ready, trying to crawl this forward. She'd rather not pop that Uber if she doesn't have to, and for now it doesn't look like there's much of a threat to her having to use it, as we see the Ender Pearls all the way back on their own last. They're going to be there in time, I think. Auto at 85%, should be getting Uber for the post, but Fancy's already so aggressive.
Very aggressive indeed, and trying to open something up here, maintaining equidistance until we once more reach the pivotal part where Hans is leaping in. It's basically a trade-off for the soldiers. Ryan rucks in once more. Double pick here, sentry gun down as well, so that was a suicidal attempt of some sorts. Fancy is already walking onto the point here. They are just taking this dry.
Absolutely, this is amazing work from the two soldiers. Haunts and Ryan doing magnificent work in through that cargo side and finding 2 kills in so much space. You can see it just absolutely ran them ragged on the Ender Pearls. The Ubercharge forced out regardless. And yet, it's okay, Zoe's died. It's going to slow them down maybe for this push, but the ad is so huge that Mandem, they don't even have to rush this. They can wait for their spawner. They can buff up and they can just, you know, take a stock standard Uber ad push.
That is a statement play if you've ever seen one, and you only see that on the top purchase of a Premiership. You are just trusting into your deathmatch capabilities. Walk in and walk in once more as people are flying in already. Very aggressively so. A sentry gun and the Spencer even down now. Fancy has an Uber that fades on him, and the Luca is caught out. Rottisha as well, so they can just play this medium term here. Ryan bombs is heavy for good measure. Only Otto, only Andy left alive. They wrap them around. Otto not close enough to Uber. 2 picks early in the fight and then reaming out the rest of the players.
That's how you push last with full Uber charges, man. We saw a fumble earlier on from the Ender Pearls, but Mandem showing us how the pros do it. Fabulous work, just absolute like poetry in motion, flying in. Nobody even dies in the entire push. It's great work, just picking off the stragglers, and they've earned themselves this 1-0 lead after what looked like a scary start to that game. But they're back in control now.
Looked like a sizzling medic that could have been the death ball, the curve ball here. June going down. Fancy now tries to open this up. Early sticky damage. Usually it does translate to some focus fire here. The target selection is still that Ryan is bombing in. Auto serves out. Nikki, however, not on the field anymore. Rottisha here. Auto June. She protects herself. You don't do that once more on me. Auto also not out of harm's way yet. He's hopping. He's hopping. He doesn't hop fast enough.
Oh, I really thought that June was going to die in Valley. I actually have no idea how she lived that. That was absolutely ridiculous. As absolute insanity there on that side. But look at this, spawn camp already in. Only 3 players alive. Second point hasn't even started to be capped up yet. That's Zoe's job, but the job now for the rest of the Enderpulls is just to try and get through one of these doorways. It's not going to be easy. They're getting absolutely demolished on this right-hand spawn shot. Got one soldier out, which is something to work with, but Ubercharge ready from June. Ubercharge popped back in. Math is going to be the first to follow the Ubercharge, and that might be all that she wrote for round number 2. What a quick round that was. And honestly, that is all off the back of the most outrageous survival I have ever seen from June.
Not only June surviving, but Otto eventually disintegrates at the end as he was being jumped. But, you know, June is known for the mechanics. We saw it yesterday, not 100% working to a full extent, but this time around definitely sidestepping, surfing, hopping, weaving, diving, surfing damage eventually, and then also the crossbow to protect herself. It's a 2-0 lead here for MANDEM that want to dictate and show their strongest form right now, as Fancy is... well, already pre-pressuring Luca here. Luca down to 140 HP. Now the beam is connected to Fancy here. You also have to watch for the high bombing soldiers. Mathis already taken up to the sky. Rotisha also here onto Andy. But no, it's also ultimately suffering.
Yeah, nobody June's going to survive again. Rotisha getting in, getting one nice rocket in, but that's going to be it. One soldier behind is maybe a nuisance for the forward spawners. We can see Rotisha going over towards that second forward spawn now. Maybe thinking about trying to get a spawn camp in onto Fancy, but Ryan is back to try and deal with this, and we're in a bit of a weird 1v1 situation. Roach nearly wins that one out. Surely he doesn't actually live it. There's no way.
You gain a demo man for a good measure here. I was already strapping in for the air shot.
That would be huge, wouldn't it?
Was not the case. But I mean, you know, you barely even win that 1v1 and you get a demo man for free. Auto switches to crits now.
The Kritzkrieg might well be up in time. It's going to be close, 50% on that crit, but the Ubercharge already used in from MANDEM. They don't want to wait around, and they are straight in. Why would they wait when they have a full Uber to use and lots of damage on that spawn shutter? But Fancy, taking a lot of damage himself, is taken down, but the space was just enough. Honestly, like, Fancy goes down, but, you know, just everyone's locked in spawn. You may as well cap up the point. It's fundamentals, but it's fundamentals MANDEM are doing brilliantly well.
Fancy has done it all. I mean, gaining cap time, walking over, resolutely locking them into the spawn. So that was basically a lost cause. A 3-0 already. We haven't even been in the server for 10 minutes, but want to maybe take this to an, well, not even saying early night. We are midday here, but then you can just have way more. Oh my god, Luca, 1 in 8. That's not what you want to see on your demo here. I have the little cheat feed, 1 assist as well, but definitely not that much of a big performance that we've seen out of him before. Now Hanzo leaps into an auto here, wonderful serve, but no! It is the soldier duo par excellence.
MANDEM have just locked in, haven't they? They've just absolutely locked in this last like 5-10 minutes or so of this game. Literally, that first round was the only time it looked like we're in any amount of peril. Math is once again on the flank. I think it was Russia last time, so new soldier this time, caught behind. But again, impact is going to be tough to get. Actually getting chased back by Zoe as well. The Mathis is all the way back on second, and you're not going to get anything there. The one thing that he has done, to be fair to Mathis, is bought a lot of time. So there is a world where a Kritzkrieg could be ready by the end of this fight on last 40% now. But MANDEM might just look to use it aggressively, as they have so many times over, and the Enderpearls are really up against it.
It's really rough, by the way. If you look on the KDs of the red team, it's basically worse than the ones on June. But now, though, the Uber does fade after the sentry gun was ripped apart. They have to now gain momentum, gain position here on the Enderpearls, plucking themselves forward. Boulder was the very first one to fall. The Crown Prince down. Nothing else to be gathered. Close in the fight. The Kritzkrieg comes out. Annie with crits, tearing through everything. Can he kill Fancy? Maybe, but definitely not. June is out of reach.
June has to run all the way back out. Andy caps up second, and it was a good hold from...
Fancy escapes!
There's actually no way you live that. There's actually no way. That's insanity. I was about to say, the good hold of Enderpearls. Honestly, that last hold there, they managed to get a bit more space, keep a bit more in that Uber charge, and I think buying the extra time with dragging those two players back may well have helped them out in that regard. And already surviving the first player in this sack attempt means they're actually tempted to just walk this on into choke. And they're really feeling confident. Look at this.
Yeah, and he's just walking, bulldozing forward here. Ryan is the second one to fall, so no soldiers basically to control the high ground. You can very easily take this and even try to pressure into second, since Ubers are in an advantage situation for June, but that might be sort of a force. Oh, well, you guys have to watch out. Boulder, Fancy. No, they're not trying it.
No, not bothering just yet. And with even Uber charges, now is where, for I guess the first time on this entire map of Sunshine. 12 minutes in, we might see a bit of a slowdown, we might see a bit of a sack attempt, we might see some poking, some prodding, some trying to squeeze some way in. But we can see currently little progress being made. Luca just walking onto this valley side, which spells to me they're going to try and get a bit of spam in and try and fly one of their soldiers in to follow up on it. Matt is going to look to me as if he's about to bomb there, but not deciding it yet.
Probing where the deathmatch does lead them to be. It's a three-pronged attack basically from green, from cafe, from main, but ultimately the damage flung in green is a bit more of an importance here. Nothing though to be gathered. This integrated position basically since we're recombobulating on choke apparently right now.
Yeah.
Where are they going? Nowhere apparently.
Yeah, they're just using the time, you know, just to work out a plan, try and formulate some idea. Yeah, it's a 4-minute round time, but it's less time to work with, but it's, you know, you've still got plenty of time, 2 minutes 45 of that round time, and there's plenty that the Ender Pearls can think of doing, and once again, going to be rotating their combo around into Valley, trying to get an early pick potentially, or an early bit of spam, an early bit of damage, just anything that can get them an opening, but look at how tight the MANDEM defense is holding. There's just nothing being given.
Yeah, Ratisha's down, but Bethis jumps in. The problem is they are losing 3, most probably only gain Hans as a recourse. Worst trade of all time. Zoe now charges in as well, and Luca is absolutely caught here. Ryan to the auto! That is not the science that you want to see.
That's an outrageous rocket. Oh my, NS from Auto in the chat, and absolutely it was. Fabulous stuff. We saw before the other day on the Essential Intelligence podcast, they were saying about, is Ryan the best soldier in Europe? And it's moments like this that make you just think he might well be, because that is an outstanding rocket to thread the needle straight through onto Auto's face. And it's a drop, and it could well be round number 2 coming right up, because there's 6 hungry MANDEM players waiting in lobby, and they have a full Uber charge ready to rip.
They don't want to deviate from the prior pathway to success. Well, Fancy does want to deviate there, as basically was completely denied, and now Uber Fates without any significance really gained here. So it's all on the soldiers, most probably. Also, Röttischer still decently healthy. They control the right side. Nothing really to budge off. Hans is spreading his own wings here into the high ground, but there's also a heavy close here. Nicky doesn't protect anyone. Luca absolutely ripped apart on the side flank, but it's the quarrelsome travel by Otto into Hans. Boulder down as well, so I think they're cutting their losses. Oh,
this. Ooh, thinking about it. Maybe. Thought about going behind. Actually, he's going to run in behind. Okay, the heavy is very aware of this. Okay, but this is the fine margins that we work at like we're watching teams at the Prem level. It's like literally one sticky gets knocked astray and Fancy doesn't get through the door quickly on the Uber. And that just ends the push. Like, the fact that Fancy is in there, like, what's that, like, maybe 1.5 seconds late, just ends it. But now Andy, he's actually just in onto Fancy regardless, gets a kill with a pistol. Oh, Ubercharge used out from Auto, but this might get a little bit weird because Ubercharge is up and ready now for June, and Boulder might want to run this one in, try and get forward, try and catch some of the retreating players. Going to be Rocha running out from underneath, taken down. Boulder, next target is going to be Nicky, who's on the beam. Andy up above as well. It's absolute pandemonium in lobby.
Yeah, they haven't figured out their success formula here, the positions, but the target selection seemed to be a bit more important. It was basically Andy on Boulder, but Hans has Nicky ripped to pieces. And I think if Andy gets 1 or 2 frags more, then the Enderpearls win that. If Boulder gets 1 or 2 more frags, then they can instantly traverse it to the last point. This is though what they're opting for. No Nicky on the fight and on the front, which means they are once more threatening the needle here. Zoe, however, caught on the flank. Röttischer traded out, and Ryan as well.
Getting a bit weird actually. Boulder finding frags too. Auto is 30 HP. Auto's gone down because Boulder is absolutely rolling everyone on this left-hand side of the point.
He might
even continue to. Boulder turning this into a bit of a scout masterclass on this last push in, doing fantastic work, and might just winning out the round. Unless the
spawners are coming in.
Enderman could be enough. June will be back in. Boulder again, still adding up to the kill tally. Just like the fire bombs in. And June, last one alive, 1v1 with Andy.
1v1.
Auto is there ready. They can't do the attempt. Zoe, 1v1. Can't
scout medic.
the shots. Andy gets diff for the first part, down to 40
it's
HP
so
and MGE.
They're winning this. It's the soldier flying in. June is still alive, mind you, by the way. And 1
3 HP
Andy, 5 HP. Spawners, Hans.
What?
It's fine. It's fine.
But the thing is though now, it's kind of fine, but does June just have like a 30% advantage because Auto died right in the midst of that fight with Boulder? And for a moment, I thought June was actually going to kill Andy with that arrow. Andy lives on such low HP out in lower. But this is an Ubercharge advantage that they're building up on the MANDEM side. The last couple haven't gone to plan, but they've still got 44 seconds on this round timer. They've got plenty of time for one last attempt at an Uber advantage push. And I think they're getting ready to go.
Compartmentalizing your resources, you see it basically divide et impera, but it was a drawn-out fight for 30 seconds. Let's see how drawn out this fight is, as Otto doesn't have Uber yet. So it's very important here. Only Teleporter Reese staying down. The sentry gun very close here, so it takes some more efforts, some more eyes to deal with it. Luca down, and Rotisha, that might just open
90%.
the spot once more. They have 90%. It's so close, but not ultimately enough.
Seconds in it, Auto's Ubercharge was almost ready to go. But there we have it, 4 rounds to 0. As MANDEM take that round, I believe we're back in, and we see. I was running there because I saw the timer had disappeared. I assume that now, like, because the team has already reached 4, it's going to be win limit 5 regardless. So that might be just a little config thing that they have set up. Because I don't know if we were about to hit the 0 time regardless. But here we go, mid fight. Number 5, it's not looked great on these mids so far for Enderpearls. Can they change things up? Can they make something work? But there's 2 soldiers in their face straight away, Horn on the top left. They're not making it easy for the Enderpearls.
Oh, Luca was the very first victim, and they're not even able to stay alive here. It's the head play by Otto, the only one getting a frag in that mid-fight, and also still chasing Otto down in the end. Frail and brittle mid-fight, and you learn something new every day with the changed timer on the top, but ultimately that catapults them most likely in a 5-0 soon enough.
Yeah, I was being careful because I wasn't sure if I had not been paying attention to the timer that the game had actually ended at that 4-0, but I was caught to it. We've still got more action left on Sunshine. We've still got another Ubercharge advantage, and if it's anything that last one, it's going to be a swift 5th round for the MANDEM. Just getting themselves buffed up. They can wait. They've got plenty of time. Auto died so incredibly late on that previous push. Oh, they can wait it out. Andy, though, actually, the 150 body shot followed by the 50 damage on the no-scope is enough to kill Ryan, and this is actually going to make this push a lot more sketchy, never mind.
Fancy is still scuttling forward, though, so that was some proportionate dosage of destruction as Rotisha also reamed off the side. Mathis, however, responds in kind onto Horns, and we have to sway to the other side here. Boulder is leading his team not astray at all. A safe soiree to back out once more. Otto with a sizable Uber advantage, and Mathis still has Fancy a bit locked out.
Did you know about Zoe? Zoe's hiding underneath. Zoe's hiding underneath, and Auto, fabulous work in the dungeon. Resurrected is Zoe underneath. Massive kill onto Auto, and now again they're going to have another Uber advantage. Andy goes down late as well, and it's all falling apart now for the Enderpearls. What a hiding spot. Like, it's one of those spots you just expect to get checked, but it wasn't. Enderpearls cutting corners, and they are punished in the worst possible way.
Etymologically speaking, Zoe means life, and you can see why he is the life form, perfect life form, and gives MANDEM this life to nail down a 5-0 soon enough. It is a 70 to 60% Uber advantage, talking through their push, seeking counsel within their own deathmatch capabilities. Fancy a bit whooped off to the side, and now though the sentry gun only level 1 being dealt with, they have to focus some more players that are not Uber. The heavy is now bonged. Every player still alive. They're coming back here. Andy, Rotisha, so much damage, so much destruction.
It is, but it's a lot of damage on players that aren't reaching 0 health for MANDEM. They do fabulous work on the Uber getting in, but they just cannot finish off any of those kills. And Enderpearls, they're like somehow again hanging on in these Uber ad pushes, and it's something we saw a lot yesterday when we saw MANDEM playing up against Dirty Maggots. They're struggling to convert some of these Uber ad situations, and yes, they're 4 rounds up, but with a LAN next week, these are the sorts of things you'd look to be fixing. Oh no! I thought that was going to hit for a second. That would have been fabulous, wouldn't it?
It would have been definitely something to write home about, but an unassailable advantage is maybe still a 10% Uber advantage, and Mathis going down, but maybe a 5-4. This is one for the Dreamers here, but you have to start little and step by step. Fancy, however, plucks them all apart here with so much damage into the green area. Boulder is straight resurrected from Norse mythology. He looms above all, and now Luca is the recipient, but they lost a lot of other players as well. June is caught.
Yeah, Ryan gets in a good amount of damage, but June going down is the all-important frag at the tail end of that fight, and it's enough now for Otto and Andy to try and get something to work into this middle point. But MANDEM don't want to give everything up too quickly. Ryan getting caught in transition, not exactly what they were after. Look at how aggressive Fancy was playing the entire time in choke. Just did not want to give this up without a fight, and why would you?
Hans is just on the top. There are 5 players on the low ground who can't even shoot him down, and he's blocking that midpoint alongside with Balder. Balder charges forward here. Nicky is nicked ultimately. Hans absolutely drive-by frag. The health is so important. 7 HP on Rotisha ultimately being cleaned up, but so much rocket spam damage still flung upon her choke point.
Yeah, the arrows from Otto doing great work to try and keep these last couple of players alive, but is it going to be enough? Because look, they're caught in no man's land. Ubercharge forced out. June Boulder trying to run away. Can they get out of the way of the reaching arms of Andy, who does a lot of damage up onto Boulder, but not quite enough to get something working. And now the counter-aggression can be on. Boulder trying to walk forward. Ryan getting caught out on the way in too. Fancy trying to get in from choke. It's a bit discombobulated for MANDEM. They're all sort of poking from different areas at once. And the Enderpearls, they're able to stabilise for a moment, but for how long? Because it's full Uber advantage for MANDEM, but the sacks come in.
Decent
the
rockets.
Enderpearls, they want to get this Uber off of June, and Fancy's gone down too. This is carnage.
It's crazy rockets by Rotisha, and also June is still not out of harm's way yet. Could have even been forced. No, she dodges out. Meth is on the hunt here though. No Boulder. 70 HP on June, leaving, utilizing all of the artillery shots still within this. And now though, Hans also caught 6k here on Andy. Nicky forward and absolutely manhandled by Ryan in the end. But it is a force coming out. So much aggression. We've seen that out of MANDEM, but this time Enderpearls relentless.
Well, last time we saw Enderpearls in this kind of situation, they didn't manage to convert. But at 4-0 down, they better start getting some rounds on the board at some point. But Enderpearls, there's a way to start it, right? There's no rush with these comebacks, right? It's not like a traditional European game where you've got a tick-tocking timer, you know, telling you, okay, you've got 4 rounds, but you've only got 8 minutes to find them, for example. They can take as long as they want over on Enderpearls, and they might want to go pretty quick because June's going to have a Kritzkrieg ready soon, but Luca Enderman looks like he's about to pop straight in.
We are all conjoined in this effort. Also, Luca was a bit bonked once more, but the sentry gun is ruptured, and now Rapture here is what is inflicted onto Fancy. The heavy comes close. Rotisha still alive on 5 HP. Quite weak though afterwards. Luca is plucking the pipes forward. They have to deal with the heavy here. Andy on an 8k. Still
crits.
Havoc. The crits comes out. They have all left though. Otto, Luca.
It's a bit weird in the final moments. That push is even weirder now because Otto's caught completely the pack. Oh, that's so unlucky from Haunt. Knocks Otto away, and on the surf, Otto gets the pack and lives. Outrageous stuff from the Witness Gaming Medic, and outrageous stuff now from the Enderpearls because they're using this as an invitation to get themselves right back in. Never mind they have no demo. They still want to fight on this second point.
And June is caught here, mate!
Trying to get up to June, who just about slithers away into lobby.
And he's chasing here into the dungeon area. Basically, Boulder's down. Otto claims Ryan and Andy on another one. At 2k that is, but every large kill streak starts with 1 and then ends up on 2, maybe even 3. This is right now capped. Hans is also hiding. He's not watched. No one is seeing him.
It's too slow though, maybe, right? Is it too slow? They're going to get in time. Good
is it?
In onto Otto. Just gets the force out, but June doesn't have an Uber charge. This could be round number 1, I think, of the 4 needed. Or the 5, excuse me, from the Enderpearls back to back. There's surely no way they hold this. Surely no way they hold this, right? Ryan gonna bomb in. Yeah, okay, there we go. Normality is restored for a moment.
Luca plucks 600 damage on players that are unfortunately Ubered. That's a bit of a hurdle, but yeah, I mean, Hans, if he was like 1 second faster, maybe could have also done more, something more significant, but this is what you can rage for if you lose this map 5-4. On a regular config, we would have won that ages ago, but Ben, it is what I was already, you know, structuring up on the horizon. We are still in this game. And it has not yet ended. Luca is still plucking stickies toward the red Tetris area. There's a scout on top, sitting there, basically on the Merlins. Now, the Hans is leaping into Otto here, does keep alive. So much protective stickies set up by Luca Enderman. Rotisha also shoots some accompanying players apart. It's all onto June here. Can she survive? She does do so. Only momentarily though. Anyway, Andy is just reaping the fruits here, taunting in the end, and yeah. Is it still solo cast? Ah, hello.
There's no way that like Ender Pearls are coming back in this, right? There's no way, right? 5 rounds to find, 1 found already. So we could be. If this happens, right? This is like the biggest advert for this conflict, by the way. If we do eventually have this this run back.
I'm standing in front of a big whiteboard and I see the lines. They're not all quite structured there, but it is soon to be 4-2. I'm trusting the process here, even though it is Sunshine SA already leaping forth here. Luca Eneman spots the Centigram, immediately turned into the ground where it once sprung forth from, and now they want to receive what they seek to give. So much cap time, so much damage from Luca. He's absolutely plucking them apart. Nikki treads them to bits. 4-2.
Well, we've got a game on our hands now, haven't we? In this lower bracket final, 4-0, we thought MANDEM were cruising, but 2 quick back and forth rounds. Ender Pearls might well be back in this game. They still got 3 rounds to find. They're not even halfway there on their attempted fight back, but this might put a bit of a warning over towards MANDEM. They're thinking about chokes of seasons past, and if this map does not go their way, this would be one of the most iconic MANDEM chokes.
Absolutely. I mean, a choke of felony quantity, most definitely. But once more, Doomsday does start on the mid-fight for one team. Well, the team usually that just lose a double soldier and a scout. Ender Pearls not reigning supreme in this mid-fight.
This is what I get for mentioning there's a chance of them losing this one, because look how aggressive MANDEM have come out of the blocks on this one now, and everyone getting completely squashed. Auto!
Crazy work!
What? How do you live?
I have no idea.
That's one of the best I've ever seen.
What? I mean, we have mobile mortars here. Mobile mortars in the name of Mathis, absolutely destroying these kids. It's absurd, but Auto does keep his team in the game.
The 2 moments of absolute ridiculousness there. The Auto surf is outrageous, by the way, because if Auto dies, like just for context's sake, that is round over then and there, because they're just going to get locked in spawn completely, and there's no way they're getting out or getting any kind of situation on second. We're seeing once again, I believe MANDEM are opting to not cap the second point on purpose. I think they're maybe ticking it up a little bit. They got punished for this yesterday against Maggots. They're toying with the idea of not capping it for anyone.
Oh no!
Okay, they cap it now. They cap it now. Okay. The idea, by the way, is because of the 4-minute round timer, you actually basically get 8 minutes if you don't cap second fully, because it ticks up to 4 as soon as you cap it. So you can get a little bit of extra time for your push. And this time around, they've got a couple of players. Look at Andy, actually, like you say, just straight in.
Yeah, kills Boulder and also forces an Uber. By the way they kept this means that Fancy had a faster spawn and a sooner spawn, because you just have a forward spawn after you kept the second point. But once more, it seems as if they're just rupturing at the seams here, and Auto has a full 100%. I think they want to charge forward here. Andy is the main recipient, the main beneficiary of this Uber beam. Everyone scuttles out. Fancy, the only lone soul victim of this.
Yeah, Fancy just hurling himself into the combo there, just trying to get that force out at all costs, and does get the force, and does get us to what is almost an even Uber situation, but it's an even Uber situation with no demo on the MANDEM side, so that's going to be a little bit awkward trying to hold on to this. Horn's going to trade out 1-for-1, Auto taking a whole lot of damage on the way in, and like you say, yeah, there's absolute like just carnage erupting on the grass. Fancy and June last 2 alive. Auto just arrowing up the last couple of these players, and Ender Pearls from
what is happening? What is happening? Why is that soon to be 4-3? I mean,
just remember, right? Just like a minute ago, Auto was surfing into his own spawn as the last player alive.
Mm-hmm. Not able to dislodge him, and also, I have to remind you as well, Ben, there was a mobile mortar named Mathis. I mean, he was just inflicting so many lethal wounds there in the lobby as well. But honestly, if they win this off now, it is definitely on Auto. But Nikki is the secondary in line here on Sniper now.
Well, see if the Sniper can come good. It's sometimes hard sniping at Sunshine last, often looking to just try and take down one of those spam classes, open up a bit of space for you, but Sniper v Sniper, the dots are both showing. Oy! But it's a big peek in from Nikki. That's a nice 150 headshot onto Boulder, and that is going to open up some space.
That is definitely going to open up some space. A bit of heterosis at work here. The engineer not even aware of it. Oh, that was so close. A good one on there on Hans jumping in. Otherwise, Zoe would have probably been headshot. Zoe's sentry gun cleans off Mathis. They tried to poke different sides. One player down, and that opens up an angle that was previously watched. Also, I think 1 second mattering there. Otherwise, Zoe could have been disintegrated by the sniper shot as well.
Yeah, good work as well, I've got to say, from the soldiers on MANDEM. They knew when the rotation came and you saw how they were just in tandem spamming away at that left-hand side, making sure there was no room at all for the sniper to get in. And Nicky now once more going to peek in from the top right, where he found success previously with that headshot over onto Boulder. But Boulder just currently still just playing the same angle, is mega passive. This is the setup MANDEM clearly feel comfortable with. Demo top left, sniper playing really far back at the back of the point. Nicky going to rotate over the opposite side this time around. Boulder spots it out through the one-way glass in spawn. Actually almost finds an angle there. Auto!
That was so clutch. I think they're not even aware of him still peeking that. But if you're on the stopwatch here, can anyone tell me, are we close to 30 minutes? I think we're rather close to 45 minutes or something like that. But this is the config. I already saw a crack shot on Auto, but ultimately was not to be.
Well, Andy's been taken down first, and that's going to be a bit of a retreat called from the rest of the side, but Horns gets 2, I guess, and Ryan getting the 3rd. That's a way you can turn the tides, but now we get the question.
Do they push out?
Do they push? And looks like, to me, MANDEM want to at least try and sack. I don't know if they want to push necessarily and cap, they're just sacking soldiers in. And never mind, they are capping, they do decide they want this. No, they don't. It's called off. It's understandable, right? Because the thing is, if you cap, you're just extending the timer, and at best, you're getting an even Uber stalemate on second. They're happy to just wait this extra 1 minute 20 on last and wait for another potential mid-fight and maybe just fling in, do the ender pearls in straight away. Math is going to be taken down. Uber charge actually popped out.
Yes,
this is
come
absolute... Whoa, okay.
I mean, the heavy is relatively healthy still after that. The main thing why they tried this was Hans going down once more after he spawned. So much kept already gained. It's Nicky still running trains on these kids here. Zoe is a secondary one to fall, so it's all on the focus fire, the target selection right now, but it is Fancy keeping alive. Luca Enderman does not. Auto has to once more keep himself alive. There is another scout and another soldier to help him out. The wonderful serve! Oh. What a serve! Vendée Globe.
Auto's hit some crazy ones today, hasn't it? And honestly, I thought that cap was actually going to come in. It was really, really close to happening.
2 players still down, by the way. 2 players still down.
Yeah, they want to go for this, and why not if you're ender pearls? There's 28 seconds left. You kind of just about have time for your own Uber, but you may as well try and pressure it regardless. Spawner's going to be coming in. Horn's already taken down. Math is going to jump in for this far end right-hand side. Can't quite get Roach in just yet. Luca Enderman trying to get in Ryan's week 2, the heavy last line of defense, but it's doing just enough defense for the MANDEM. Ender pearls gonna have to go back to another mid-fight, but MANDEM count their lucky stars because that could definitely have gone either way.
So close. It was a matchup of mobile mortar, so a double soldier from the Ender Pearls against mobile sentry gun, a heavy munching, rightfully so, on a sandwich. I don't want to single anyone out. Hans, I think, died 4 or 5 times in quick succession. I mean, he is also a bit traded out sometimes, or sacrificed rather, but he was basically, hey guys, I'm spawning, I'm back at the respawn queue instantly. So that was basically the main advantage they budged off, but not nailing it this time around. It is a mid-fight I have not even calculated. I've lost count. We've been into the Sunshine map here for quite some time, but last time, Ender Pearls not winning the mid-fight.
Yeah, not going their way last time. We still remember that serve from Auto back into the spawn shooter was what kept them in that one, but this time around it's going to be all pressure up from MANDEM. They're taking so much space across the middle of this point, taking so much aggressive ground, and sat in death corner currently is Auto. Horn's going to be the one to come in around at the back. Auto just about going to dodge away, and yeah, they do have to leave, absolutely.
Oh no, they know! It's a double scout still coming out on top. Nicky and Andy somehow find water from stone, squeeze Hans as well. And what on earth? They turned this around. That was crazy play. I mean, it all started when Ryan won against Rotisha on the side flank, this 1v1. But afterward, the scout being very unrelenting. Andy is chasing into the last. You can see 40 frags on this man.
Andy's keen. That's something we saw a lot of him on Pine Gaming, right? Like, he's really keen to just take these really aggressive plays, sometimes on beam, sometimes off beam. just completely fearless. And why not when you've got aim like he does? And now we're going to be sitting back into another even uber stalemate, back where we were just a few moments ago on the MANDEM side of Sunshine last. And you can see as we've got into this like kind of not golden cap, this sort of infinite overtime part of this game, both these teams have. It feels like to me they're playing a little bit more cagey for the most part. Besides that last little push there from Andy, it feels like they're playing a bit slower. They're willing to go into these stalemates and they're not really willing to risk trying to push out of them. Because MANDEM are sitting solid and just with that gun and everything, they're just waiting for that timer to tick down from that 3 minutes. Suddenly
we're all conjoined in the same fate. I mean, we're just sitting on last. We can prosper. Luca Enneman wants to shoot some rockets forward. Sig is rather forward. Rotisha is the one with the rockets that disables the sentry gun from medium distance. Hans also wants to have a counter jump. Well, he's headshot basically. Sentry gun immediately once more turned into the ground. They are slowly turning the screws here, but no, Rotisha and Andy not on the field anymore.
Double sack. I wonder if that's to go for an off class, at least for Andy. Andy has come up on Sniper a few times. Also come up and Spy as well, I believe. So it is a possibility. Rocha may even want to come up with some man treads either. I'm not quite sure what they decided to go for. It doesn't look to me
gunboats
as anything. Just use regular gunboats. But the thing is with these, right, is especially we've seen in the couple of games that we've run on this config now in these Prem playoffs, teams are really reluctant to try and push out of last, especially with this 4-minute round timer. So you can double sack, you can sometimes even triple sack, and the enemy won't try and get out.
And the sentry gun is the only real victim here. No, Hans follows suit apparently.
Auto! What?
How did he drop? The stickies come close, and that is an absolute curveball.
I absolutely have no idea how Auto died just then. That was completely out of left field. Good pressure into the lobby. Fancy credited with the kill. And now the question is, do MANDEM want to push this? Do they want to go and take second? And given the posturing they're having currently and the fact they've still got an engineer up,
no,
it kind of tells me they don't.
They never do. At least you can, add that frag to some compilation, I suppose, but in the grand scheme of things, it only really ticks down 1 additional minute, which is quite significant. I mean, whoever is not aware, 40 seconds it takes for a medic if you have the maximum building rate, and the usual building rate is around 50 seconds, 60 seconds if it takes a rather long time. So 40 to 60 seconds basically gained through this play.
And we say that, but Auto is back up, and the medigun is already at almost 90% Uber, so Ender Pearls, do they try and trade it? Do they try and sack again? If they sack, they're going to be struggling to get their players up in time to have a real push. So it looks like they're just going to go top right, going to try and take the Ubercharge in aggressively. But the Pyro on Boulder is a real thorn. They haven't even got objective number 1 of this, which is to get the Sentry Gun. Objective 2 is clear. They forced out the Ubercharge from June, but now they're going to have to rotate in and fight up against this Sentry Gun in the post. So much players dropping everywhere, but all in MANDEM's favour. I think they're going to hang on.
In a blink of an eye, they all blow up on this reference point, which is the top right area. Also, Boulder assesses this position as suitable for himself here on the Nostromo Napalma, having the most fun with the reflex. And in 20-second time, we most probably have a reset. It's also a theory. I mean, honestly, I would even say if Ender Pearls just push in and all wipe, probably MANDEM don't even push out from that. So you can just send it.
They might just go for it regardless. It doesn't look to me as if they want to do anything. They're just sort of sat here. Are they going to think about it? Luca Enderman just spamming towards the door. There's no time. They have to get on point. There's 1 second.
What? 0. We saw this yesterday, by the way, on this hut. Everyone loses, and I feel like it is a real macro perspective. Everyone. The one player watching, all the players watching, us commentating, JMix with the camera, and maybe everyone else who doesn't even watch this game. Everyone loses.
All of us at once. But who doesn't want to be losing is Ender Pearls. They're still 4-2 down. Let's go back to the state round the game. Fancy beefing the rollout a little bit. It's going to be quite slow on this like I believe on about the 8th or 9th rollout now onto Sunshine. Maybe just muscles seizing up after doing the rollout so many times. But he's here on this left-hand side of mid, trying to spam across, trying to get as much damage as he can. And Ryan the first to fall, and look at June as well.
What a jump scare as well. Andy is charging forward here, but Fancy has some additional pipes. June is not on this on the face of the earth anymore. Auto leaves in kind, but a lot of field progress was gained by the Enderpearls. Nikki, Mathis, and Rotterdam. They're all three quite weak of them. Zoe probably has more health by himself, but ultimately he's also rupturing at the seams. Just wanted to see what was there. Auto and June, they spawn now.
I will say I actually quite like what we saw from June there. Oh, June,
for what spawn?
Zoe.
And crits.
From Zoe, yeah, crits from Auto is huge, but from Zoe like playing around the cafe area, just sort of poking, making himself known, making himself feel big. You know, it made the Enderpearls could easily have rolled second. If Zoe just runs back, Enderpearls take second. But now they've got to go into this push onto the second point. It's going to be roughly even, but the crits advantage from Auto takes up to 80%. And I wonder if there's going to be some explosions, some fireworks onto this second point.
It is definitely something to rekindle our spirit. You see them post-shot here, and now it is popped here. Nothing is found of note. Mathis is leaping forward, though. Fancy is immediately turned into the ground, and it just opens up so much space. You don't have that much personnel forward anymore. You're trying to chase out. Andy, but he does leave in kind. It doesn't get the drop, but it gets so much destruction. Destruction!
June dies late in the fight to Roche. Andy coming back in for more frags too. Last player out of spawn is going to be Zoe, who's run all the way deep behind. And Enderpearls, they're back in with a fight on this round. But the unfortunate part, well, there's two parts. There's the back cap ongoing, which I don't think is going to come through. But Auto didn't manage to pick up that medigun from June. So it's still a crits Krieg. They're still on crits. Crits into last, not what you want.
Zoe was dredging up some players in the backline. So ultimately was Kalso still on a 10-second spawn wave, but now the crits is enabled. It isn't finding anything though in this advantageous crits charge. Not even the sentry gun, it's teleported back. It opens up a bit of space here, but ultimately to
There's
no
no way
avail.
they cap. There's no way. Okay, I was gonna say, please, can we have some normality? If that cap comes through, like that's it. We'll just delete the game. You know, I'm done. I'm
A double kill though from Luca Enderman out of nowhere. I'm betting they're not done either, not recoiling from that at all.
Oh, but now they won't push out, will they?
No, they won't.
Because they've lost 3 players, so there's no. Why would you push out when you're down 3 players? Like the Enderpearls actually.
But you have your normality now. Look and Auto. He is now on Uber, on Medigun. We have a bit of normality here.
We do. This is getting really weird. This is getting really weird. Look how aggressive they're in straight away, trying to get anything they can. Kill into the demo is actually massive. Fancy's going to fall, but losing so many players for it. Luca Enderman and Auto last 2 up again, and we'll see if Luca Enderman can get these sticky kills once more.
It's so interesting. I mean, you see how much they just trust in MANDEM never pushing out. So this is why they were so aggressive. But once more, though, on the off chance that they do not, they do now. MANDEM pushing out and haven't kept second yet. 4 players are conglomerating on that point. The usual suspects were drawn to it, like well, flies, I suppose, or mosquitoes to the light. It is an even Uber scenario. So nothing really changes here until Andy wants to take the impetus, wants to take the initiative.
Yeah, tries to get some flashes coming around from June's Uber charge. Does succeed for the most part. It's going to be a bit of a weird post fight though. Lots of weak players from MANDEM, but a few dead players from the Enderpearls, and that's going to kind of balance out in MANDEM's favour because June is able to bow everyone back up alive again. Ryan getting caught. Auto really passive for now. Fancy trying to get up onto the point, can't quite get there. And Zoe, the last one in to clean up this fight. Everyone in the Enderpearls having to run all the way back, the long walk home onto their own second point, and they might be getting forward spawns denied too. There's 6 seconds left on these 2 spawning up. MANDEM might have some momentum.
It was a tale of a high ground against a man advantage. MANDEM had more players, Enderpearls had a high ground advantage there momentarily. The problem is if this pipe did hit from Luca Enderman onto Fancy, they would have 100% stayed in, but June is dead out of nowhere once again. Blink and you miss 3 frags.
This is getting absolutely outrageous. This is... I don't know what's going on this game. This sort of like... We have moments that just everything feels normal, and then there's moments when there's just absolute chaos erupts from nowhere. I did not even think there was a chance that MANDEM could lose their medic in that situation, but there we are. Enderpearls making magic happen from absolutely nothing. And look at the situation now, right? Like, June didn't just get forced, June died. So look at the Uber charge, it's 30% on June. Second point already getting walked in on. The sniper could be a nuisance, but if the Uber either comes in and wipes everyone, or they keep it for last, MANDEM are in trouble.
Zoe, oh, the click shot! Zoe onto Auto! You just need to act at the moment's notice. He was called Inzo before. He had all the Inzotonic drinks he needed. Back onto Zoe here. Luca Enderman has Fancy as a ragdoll given and offered to him. The guard is satiated. Nikki is not satiated after all. Hans also flies into pieces. And suddenly, they do lose Auto. They still have a lot of deathmatch fight here still mattering.
The Inzotonic drink is legendary. That's a great one, and it's actually great from Zoe, formerly known as Inzo, on second point. Has denied the cap completely, so no forward spawns coming in on mid. And now, okay, we're back to the situation we were at about 2 minutes ago, before like the weird tomfoolery started happening. Will MANDEM this time get it clean into second?
Hopefully. I mean, it's only been, what, 60 minutes in this game? And I'm not even wanting to repeat that we are acting on a moment's notice, because those moments have culminated all the way. But Otto, quite close to his own Uber charge once more.
Yeah, all the way up at 90%. I think we're going to stalemate out on this one, unless MANDEM decide to walk this in aggressive, and they are walking in really aggressive on this far left-hand side from Cafe. Uber charging be traded out. Andy popping in onto Fancy, trying to throw some flashes around from June, who has
Fancy
managed to keep it mostly on Fancy. Nice flash, like you say, to keep Fancy Elf alive, but who else is getting out alive on this Cafe?
What a nuke from Ruttisha. He realized the number deficiencies, and he is also chasing out Julia. Cannot leave from that one, was 100%. And Andy Loper, but Mathis, the mobile mortar, once more necrology for you.
Mathis, like, quietly this game, okay, I know the frags aren't looking great, but Mathis has had some massive impact this game. It's been absolutely fantastic. Up from the ex-TLR soldier, play against his ex-teammate, of course, was on that TLR roster back in late 2023 when himself and June won Premiership. But this time around, it's going to be Ender Pearls with Uber charge advantage. June miles away from her own Uber, and this is the best chance you're going to get for a round. Ender Pearls, you've got to make it happen now.
Andy also on 46 frags, by the way, just casually, but we are wearing some more rose-tinted glasses, which is, they are red, as Luca Enderman is charging forward, took some damage, so ultimately also the reflash not coming out soon enough. The point does open up, so if someone can close here, the heavy is out though, onto the front line, and June very close to her own Uber.
But this push kind of got nothing, right? Like, yes. the Uber kind of, I don't know, it felt like none of the objectives of the Uber were actually like succeeded in there. Also, nice surf attempt, but that's all you're going to get. And he tries the wall bug, not quite going to land, and does go down. So push out going to happen now for MANDEM, and this could be the start of a big coast to coast. This is what punished MANDEM yesterday night. It was a coast to coast that ended that game up against the Dirty Maggots. But that Uber push, that's not giving me hope for the Ender Pearls long term. That push just seemed like it just fell apart completely. There was no real threat, no real tooth to it. But MANDEM, they have an Uber of their own. They're going to look for something better as one shot comes in onto Horns. Nikki with the sniper this time. Nice shot. Definitely
lackluster in terms of biting a back, but well, Ryan I think wants to body slam some players here from behind, but Uber comes out. Yes, indeed, a full point blank meat shot here on to Luca Enderman. Also some more players mighty up for the grabs. Nikki as well. There's a bolt from June. From Otto onto June, medic on medic situation.
Oh, so why are you stood there? That's so
He's staring menacingly.
Just the confidence. The confidence. Obviously he knows if it's a soldier turns the corner, he'll surf it, right? But just the confidence around from Otto. He's great to watch. He's absolutely phenomenal at the game. But second point might be getting capped up. Ender Pearls full Uber advantage. They don't want that to happen. They're rolling out forward. They're trying to block in. And block the cap they will, but will they get any further? 75% Uber plays 25, so there is enough for the Ender Pearls if they want to walk this.
They will.
Quick.
Let's enlist on an invariable and inadvertent pounce here through the green area. One spotted soldier is leaping out. The solar sailing soldiers, they do need solar energy. They do eventually leap out here. Mathis already in sort of a panorama bomb fashion is observing it all, but surveilling we are now here. Cafe, Ruttisha versus Horns. Horns does win. Nikki trades him out.
This gets a bit weird now because Otto's caught out completely, but look at that from Mathis, comes back in. saves his comrade there over on Auto. It could have been really awkward if Auto had to pop up the Uber charge, but the soldier comes flying in to save the day. 3 players left alive. They might be getting forward spawns actually on MANDEM. It's going to be really close. I think they just about...
They do, but they can force Chu. No, she's not in a forcible situation. Never mind. She is in a forcible situation.
Forward spawn's not quite doing enough, but Ryan now back in and trying to get in onto Luca. Ubercharge pop back the other way. But yeah, like this game, like I know it's been a long one, but this just like hasn't really slowed down for the past like 10 minutes. We've just got Uber into Uber into Uber. And finally, maybe things are going to stabilize in second push. Going to try...
And this choke here, so much damage, so much curtain fire, but Boulder keeps alive. A 5-kill streak from him. Auto down to 20 HP, by the way, in the midst of all of this.
Madness. Utter madness. And there's still a chance that Enderpearls could hold on to the midpoint here. It looks like they're getting their spawners up in time. And it looks like they're going to have the Uber maybe up in time. Auto wasn't beaming for a little bit, so it is a slight advantage for June. I believe she was also forced slightly earlier in that previous engagement. But are we going to settle down? Are we going to have a breather for the first time in what, like this hour? And I don't even want to guess how long this map is.
I feel like we are sent straight from hell into the purgatory, apparently. I'm not sure here.
This is map 1.
It's catharsis soon enough. Don't worry, Ben. We're setting new records, setting new heights. We're just making the most out of the time we have given until the grand final.
We absolutely are, and to be fair, it has been a good game. Who would have thought it would have gone on like this after it was 4-0 to MANDEM after what 20 minutes of gameplay? Absolutely phenomenal comeback attempt from the Enderpearls. They got them a couple of quick rounds in, but now things are beginning to grind to a bit of a halt. It's all about the spam, all about the damage, all about if one of these soldiers can get in, all about if the Uber charge can get in, because that's some big damage onto Fancy.
They do pop significantly later, however, so can they leave?
Juggle.
No, they cannot! There's so much damage! Auto is ripped to bits. 5 players still up alive, quite weak though. The red ones here might be up here for the grabs, for the follow-up fight. It is still an absolute carnage show, but Ruttischer, the only lone survivor, sculpting some progress on the flank, but ultimately not to be.
Our control point is being captured.
Well. That aggressive Uber exchange might have been a little bit of an overstep there from the Enderpearls. Maybe they're so, at the point where they're thinking they're having enough.
The fort spawns on the night, by the way, they are all back spawning. So that diagrams, fingers crossed, an advantageous last push, and we've seen MANDEM are way better on those than the Enderpearls.
Yeah, but they've had percent-wise, I think they've been better. But at the start of this game, they had a couple of awkward ones from MANDEM. But this time around, it's going to be 60, maybe 50% Uber advantage. Sniper to deal with on the push in. Ubercharge used in top right. Going to try and get in onto the gun. Gun goes down eventually from a pipe from Fancy. Jumping over the left spawn now. Can they get in onto these last couple of retreating players? Big damage on the left hand spawn. Luca Enderman incredibly weak. Nikki on the heavy. Fighting, trying to keep them alive. Ryan, nice shot there onto the soldier. It's looking good. Auto really close to Ubercharge. 90% 20 HP on Auto. They can't get it up in time from Auto. 90% on the Ubercharge. Nearly there. But we are finally released from Sunshine.
We can shake off the shackles from this purgatory. We were ransacked as well, it felt to me, but ultimately, I mean, Luca falling down moderately fast, I would say, and again, 5 to 10% mattering there. Auto not ultimately catching up. The mobile mortars, I am saying this terminology until the semantic satiation sets in, because such an aggressive dominant force there in the sky by the soldiers, they definitely brought ruination to this defense, but I haven't had a stopwatch close by, but Sunshine was picked by the Enderpearls, and I was getting ready, you already said it, Ben, for a 15-minute washout after 4-0 was on the horizon, but that was definitely some fight, wasn't it?
It was a weird one, right? Like, because the early, these feel like a real game of two halves. After that first, 20 minutes, it felt like it really came back into the game over on the Enderpearls, and there's one thing I do just want to note, right? Well, we've got logs on screen, right? I don't normally like talking about individual numbers and such on logs all the time, but look at the damage numbers, not the DPM, the raw damage numbers. Everyone except the medics has over 10k damage this game. When was the last time you saw that happen?
The last time I saw this happen was when the total map timer wasn't 51 minutes and 56 seconds.
Yeah, I will say it felt a lot longer than 51 minutes. I guess there was a
does.
pause as well, right? And
Yeah.
and it doesn't also count like between rounds and like round reset times and everything. So
Definitely.
maybe it was
Also,
closer to an hour.
I'm giving you the keywords here. I mean, we are turtling up a lot on the last points, but still, I mean, KD is sort of, if you even think about that, not that high. I mean, Zoe obviously 1.8, but I mean, I've already seen Sunshine maps where scouts go 3.0 into the KDs. Let's look at damage per minute stats for a change. Still, it was a long game, a grueling attempt. Fancy tops the charts with perfect, on the spot, on the dot, 300 damage per minute. And it is where the opposing team here, Luca Element, trailing behind that significantly, only 200 damage per minute.
Yeah, it's a good showing for Mandem. I was worried, I was thinking, right, like, back to like chokes of Mandem past, I was like, if this goes from 4-0 to 5-4, we're thinking, this is one for the ages, but it's not to be, They do eventually dig it out, and to be fair, their last holds, even though they were put in these like uber disadvantaged situations a lot on last, they felt like that kind of was the difference maker. It felt like Enderpearls couldn't really convert their advantages very well, particularly late on in the game. It felt like maybe fatigue started setting in.
Can I just quickly say as well, Otto is on a 0.5 KD. He has 7 frags.
Otto was like fighting. He was fighting.
I've seen that stat line before, and now we prompted here the medic stat line ultimately. This is a bit more important, I suppose. 3 drops, though, out of Otto, and that sort of lends into that narrative. He really had to fight to keep himself alive.
He did, and as well, like, some of those were incredibly high impact as well, right? I think like the sniper kill that came out from Zoe on second point, and there was this full disc they had the sniper just like threads the needle through the middle of everything. There's like bits of prop everywhere, and just manages to get the shot through. And then the other one I'm remembering is the one from Ryan, a beautiful rocket in the cafe. So yeah, fabulous work from the Mandem team, getting a good few kills there over onto Auto, a good few Uber advantages. And we'll see if Granary is anything different, as I can't believe that was only map 1. That was, game was starting, like an hour and 25 minutes ago?
We don't need to pound the rubble. Also, we have a little bit of time here to regain our strengths, as we will soon be back with like statistics and stuff. They are trying to get into the server once more. Technical difficulties a bit in the background. But what I want to say, it is the pack of MANDEM here on Granary, and the only thing that I gathered out of those map picks was in the previous map picks and bans. Andy did say in the chat, we ban Granny. I have never seen anyone just abbreviate Granary to Granny. So just from this sort of terminology alone, I think they should lose this. But let's get a bit more tactical again here, Ben. I mean, more close quarter scenarios, and especially the Demo Man, I think, coming even more into an importance here.
Yeah, I pointed out in before the series started, I was like, Luca Enderman was someone who I thought really shone bright in their previous games, particularly the game yesterday. I think he had moments on that game today. I just think there was a couple of times I think his impact was a bit muted. So I'm interested to see, Granary can be a great map for demos. I want to see Luca Enderman get picking up and join up with those soldiers, because honestly, like Mathers and Rochester, like they had a great game between them, in my opinion. And they had some fabulous impact. Okay, like, KD's DPMs, whatever, right? Like the impact from the soldiers, the space created, that's not shown in the stats. And I thought they had a fantastic run-in on that first map.
100%, but also reciprocated, I do think, by Hans and Ryan. But you're so used to the particulars of the play working, and just working together on a tandem, it seems to elicit some highlight frags from that. But once more, onto Granary here. Definitely area denial classes coming way more into their game, and also maybe medics not being absolutely shunted in open areas. But my additional point here is, I mean, Granary not notoriously bad for the last caps. I'd say like Sunshine is one of the worst ones to really nail your last push.
That's one thing that's maybe gonna help these teams out, because both of them had trouble getting it on last on Sunshine, even with full Uber advantage. Like Granary, like with the point being kind of like exposed in the middle area, it feels like blocking it and getting players off the point can be a little bit harder, especially if you manage to get soldiers up and control those 2 pipes. But I know last time around that the vice grip that these teams held last with that anything is kind of possible, right? I think it's a map we maybe see less last hold beefing on, but like, you know, it still happens. And given what happened last game, I think it could well happen more coming into Granary. But I guess we're getting like maybe last couple of players in. Who are you expecting to have a good run this time around?
I mean, who am I expecting or who am I rooting for? I'm unfortunately expecting for the storyline the MANDEM to just... I'm not saying close it outright, because we do have the progressive config, so this can take some time, but my heart is still beating for Ender Pearls here. I already talked it and I've seen it on the horizon. We take the full 4 hours here, but I think the Ender Pearls maybe have a better shot here. My prediction for scoreline is probably a rather low one, maybe 3-2 in the end for MANDEM.
It's plausible. I wonder, so with this, like, the way we were playing the last map, it was like a lot of like, I don't know, if they weren't stalemating on last, it was complete like chaos flip-flopping around mid. I feel that, like, at least in my like sort of last couple of seasons of watching Granary, it feels like that happens less, just because of this like yard to mid stalemate that can happen. So I'm wondering if we're going to maybe sit into that a little bit more, or if like this kind of flip-floppy playstyle around mid is going to still continue. I hope we kind of get more of the flip-flopping, because it sort of creates like sort of chaotic imbalance, and you know, it gets like a bit more action. But it is always possible in Granary that like you get a lot of these almost resets happening around the second point if the team is able to just sit out in yard and just completely lock out the garage in the choke.
Especially since we're also praising the explosive splash damage classes, and here on Granary mid, it's definitely a theory of when you're scared of the enemy demo and you should be scared of Fancy and you should be scared of Luca, you basically bomb them immediately with the soldiers. So this is sort of a very clear objective that you can keep in mind, while Sunshine is sometimes a bit more vulnerable to being rushed down by scouts, for example. You can't really shelter that easily from it. Also, it's a bit more obstructed by map geometry, I'd say, on the midpoint. So ardently, I think they might be able to leave out, but they didn't have enough playtime before. We also have something in the pregame here, a lot of with engineers and such, but I don't want to parrot myself too often. What is your concrete prediction on scoreline?
I think MANDEM win. I'm kind of toying up in my head by how much. They are a good team on Granary though as well, right? On MANDEM, I'm gonna go like 5-1. I think it's gonna be pretty comfortable. For MANDEM, I think maybe there's like one mid to last that happens for Ender Pearls, but I think for the most part, MANDEM are just they're such a good team. I just think they're gonna be able to squeeze this out, and we can all go home and get some food before the grand final starts at 21 tonight.
I will not instigate booing on my co-caster, but I mean, I'm just saying at least it's a closer fight than maybe you are predicting or seeing on the horizon. But there's a sentry gun on second, perfect, a red one, killing a soldier.
On them in pregame as well.
Honestly, I mean, on any other matchup, I would have 100% be sure that this was pregame. This had it all though, so I wouldn't be this surprised to just in the regular set see a sentry gun maybe on second. But I'm not even sure what they're talking through here. Probably not strats at all. You usually go with the flow, and you've done the map talks, you've done it all at that point in time, especially when you're just in the playoffs and face elimination.
Yeah, well, I'd see if there's any kind of homebrew coming in. I know we saw yesterday there was parachutes to mid and things like that. If ever there's a map where I think it could work, Granary is one of those, given the really high walls that you can jump up as a soldier. But for me, we kind of know what we're going to expect. We're going to see some big circling bombs. We're going to see medics kind of cowering away, trying their very best to stay alive. Maybe players going behind. We've seen a lot of that this season as well. But yeah, we'll see some good old action-packed TF2, and I hope it does keep up. Because to be fair, I know I jest a little bit about like sort of how long the last game went on for, but like I think at the end of the day, it was like 90% of that was good action. Like that felt way quicker than the Metalworks game yesterday.
Oh, definitely. I mean, it is still the same that it was when Ender Pearls played yesterday. Quite quite dynamic, but we are going live in 30, so let's cultivate the last 30 seconds before we go live to have a exclamation mark donate in the chat for a Poland fundraiser, basically. And MANDEM will be there. The Ender Pearls won't be there, but they will definitely show another shot here to go on Granary on the very first map on Sunshine, which was the map pick of the Ender Pearls. It was a nail-biter in the end. It didn't really start out like it, but it ended up like it. But now we're onto the home turf here of MANDEM. 1-0 lead for them in terms of total maps. But I think the Ender Pearls might not even be that significantly hamstrung by this, as the red team is the Ender Pearls and the blue team is MANDEM.
And one map away from a refight up against Dirty Maggots in the grand final. But Ender Pearls will want that to happen. They want to stay in this. They want to fight on. They want to see if they can push this all the way to a map number 3. Big aggression early on. Andy first one taken down. Ryan really aggro in onto Auto, who's just about living, trying to get out alive. Ryan going to bomb in and actually trade 1-for-1 with Auto. Already getting frags on the board. But in the meantime, June's gone down. So MANDEM, you know, they win the mid, but they're not quite clean enough to be able to convert this straight away. And Mathers behind might be annoying too.
Decent heads-up play, by the way, from Auto. If you think, what is this staying so far forward? I've seen this in low diffs, yeah, but the difference here is he knows he's screwed if he just backs out and gives so much field progress to the Soto chasing him now. Mathis 1v1 against the Scout. You know how that works out if you've watched Deathmatch and added on Granary middle on a DM server. In any case, though, basically Auto throwing a tantrum up there in the backlines also meant that June was basically liberated of his life. Hans is working himself up in the lunchbox. Ubers are even.
Ubers are even, but they're not up yet. So that kind of gives a different dynamic. There's kind of no threat of an aggressive trade coming in, but it also means that like pressures to force are a bit more threatening because because you might just get the kills because there's no Uber to pop back. So I do say that looks like neither team really wants to stay in it for that long. In terms of trying to get, you know, some early pressure on before the Ubers are up. There's going to be, you know, stock standard stuff, buffing the players, trying to get some space in towards lunchbox as the flank takes so much space in. Ryan taking point, but so much spam with the medic not over lunchbox way. Like, it's really tough to get any ground.
Fancy showed the exploits to us, by the way. You can lob the pipes and stickies over, so if a medic backs out, you can even catch him off guard since it goes all the way over the building, but they're still not relenting here. You called it out. Also, the battle for the lunchbox is a bit more of an importance, as well as Rottischer versus the blue soldier right now. A fadeaway shot, but missed ultimately, and they're slowly trying and prying this open. No casualty as of yet. Luca Enderman, the very first to fall, and that is absolutely them losing now this second point.
It absolutely is, but look at these pipes from Fancy as well, making it even worse. Ubercharge popped out, Nikki gonna run in, try and get onto June, but she's disrespecting it so hard. And why wouldn't you? So much damage duked and dodged, and not duked and dodged enough by Auto, who's picked up really, really late on that one. Roach doing what he can to get in onto second and block something, but there's only 2 players up on last. This might be an early round 1.
The spawn is up now, so if they can come in here, but Rottischer does block it in kind. There are some more players having a spontaneous combustion. Eddie rocking up on the sniper class here, but ultimately not hitting the shot, and that's a very first lead akin to Sunshine for MANDEM. But I think the difference there was also that they were just staying in. They sort of not even accepted their fate, but if you clawed on the second, you have sort of a fighting force, but you know, Auto could have also backed out with Rottischer to the last, but what do you do? Is that the better play? It's sort of a hindsight prediction, so very difficult. 1-0 lead here for MANDEM.
Well, see if MANDEM can repeat the successes they had on mid-fight number 1. It seems like a familiar situation, doesn't it? It's what happened on Sunshine. Early round lead from MANDEM and really good mid-fights as well. This time around, Fancy winning out the spam war against Luca Enderman, and Auto's taking an absolute shed load of damage and getting bombed in from Ryan.
3
well.
HP!
So much trouble.
3 HP, we diagrammed the success formula out once more, and June this time does not die. She has a safeguarding SOA array set up.
They don't know about Russia.
They do not. Now he is enabling shoot to kill, but they do not have a license to kill here. Luca Enderman is still plucking some pipes forward, and it does leave Zoe open to the personal necrology here of Andy and Nikki. Rottischer also still on the top area. They don't have a medic, but they have so much ground still given to them, ultimately backing out.
mid kind of half capped is going to slow things down somewhat for MANDEM, but with massive Uber advantage, no one's really there to collect auto either, so it's going to be a big advantage. But we're talking about 60% at least on Yard, but like it's all about whether Ender Pearls can cause this force to happen early. Like we say, Yard's a tough nut to crack sometimes. Only 2 doors you can really get through. Plenty of options to spam them from. Luca ending up with the early traps, Bibes coming over the top, but MANDEM seem to have kind of evaded the gauntlet somewhat and got themselves up towards second. But look at that Uber charge from auto, it's already crept up to 90%. Enderpearls, they've managed to earn themselves an even Uber situation despite losing their med on mid.
They seeded Yard and only really protected it for 5 seconds, which meant Otto could 100% build his 100% in his own Uber bank. So a tonic of players is still healthy and sanguine enough on the second point, trying to encroach though on the face of Fancy here forward and not being hamstrung. However, Rottischer gets the better out of Ryan.
Yeah, a bit of a fight happening as well towards Lunchbox. Math is going to jump in through the connector, try and get some good damage in onto that combo. And actually, look at the players. We've got Nikki going all the way aggressive. Roach is trying to peek out as well. Enderpearls, they do not want to sit on their second point. They want to try and take Yard, and they've taken so much ground on the right-hand side.
This is the proactive situation that we want as they are still galloping forth, cutting their losses a little bit though as everyone spawned here. Fancy is also plucking some very juicy stickies forward. Hans follows suit. Luca Enderman down. We haven't even reached the final verdict since only Uber is now up and Meth is falling down. It's way better. Followed up on the damage here. Fancy opens this all up and Hans follows suit.
Well, there we go. 5 plays 1, actually plays 0 because Boulder comes in and cleans that one up. It's going to be 2-0 to MANDEM. And again, this is just completely mirroring the first Sunshine map. These mid-fights turning into second fights, turning into last fights. It's all just kind of cascading that way. I don't think Enderpearls even held the midpoint yet this game. And 2 rounds to the good for MANDEM. They're cruising. They want that redemption against Dirty Maggots later tonight. They can see it. Just got to close this one out. Just another 20 minutes potentially. Or if they could do it faster whenever they hit that 5-round mark.
Truly dominoing in the disfavor of the Enderpearls, but you can't really, well, set your mind onto past fixtures. No, you have to look on the horizon, and the horizon means the third mid-fight is already what we're strapping in for here. Fancy also didn't find any favorable angle to shoot, and some more venues here to exploit. The trajectory beam is calling Hans to the mothership. That is the opposing team's walkway here, but nothing really found. Aptly dealt with by the opposing Red Soldier. Also Ryan leaping in, so much damage, so much absolute destruction, and you called out the Enderpearls not winning mid before. Well, they have another say here at it.
They might go even further. Look at this. Andy is so far in. Trying to get this kill onto Boulder, trying to get it onto June as well. Midpoint capping up second might not be long for MANDEM either. They're getting so forced out. They're getting their explosive class of spawning in just about now, but second point isn't a lock and key. Enderpearls, this is as good of a start as you could possibly hope for after going down 2 early rounds.
We have grown accustomed to MANDEM being on the front foot, and maybe they've also grown accustomed to that, but now it is the turn for Enderpearls to encroach upon the enemy team's last. We've also seen before, you can sack a lot of players in. It was a little bit obscured there, but Ryan with a huge shot onto Andy. One Andy Loper down. Meth is also culled. You don't want to lose any more players as already those double soldiers here, they're leaping forward. Rottischer not really spotted, and the Force ultimately in the back. He is still alive, mind you.
But how does Rocha live? Rocha jumps around. The sentry gun targets Rocha for a moment, but doesn't manage to have the reaction time to like get the kill into Rocha. He runs out with the pickaxe. Fabulous work. Finally gets taken down. But look at the situation now for MANDEM. They're massive disadvantage. They haven't managed to cap second yet. They're still trying to edge that cap through. They're getting pokes out and prodded at from all angles. And Enderpearls now with full Uber advantage. They can look to walk this one forward.
The Uber can overwhelm so many players as already the glimpse of immortality might make them overarch here. The spawn doors as they are all locked out. The sentry gun now being minced meat. Metallic one at that, and the bolts are laying bare in front of our eyes. Ryan was the very first victim of this very much fight. Hans also now traded out. The pipes swung forward. The sticky swung forward. So much damage. Nikki still running circles around everyone. It is now an end. And in the end, it does matter for the Enderpearls.
Nice little reference there. A nice little round coming in from the Ender Pearls. Clean conversion. That sack on second from Roadshirt does so well. Catches everyone in transition. And MANDEM, honestly, and I know I was the first to critique the gameplay we saw yesterday on that Metalworks game, but MANDEM getting punished for trying to push out of last, for trying to make something happen. They were up 2 frags. They tried to walk out and they pay the ultimate price in getting forced. And now their lead is cut in half. And the mid-fights have been good so far. Can MANDEM keep it up?
Statement play, by the way, as well from the Enderpearls. They're not going down 4-0 before they claim another round for themselves. Ryan also shot down to half HP. Rotisha, again, the first victim, but you have a lot of ground gain. Also, the ceiling is shot by a soldier. It is so narrow.
How... One of the most ridiculous engagements I've ever seen, and it's not working in MANDEM's favour at all. Look at the players getting cut off completely. Math is going to bomb in, going to be a kill onto Fancy. June and Haunch, the last 2 to run away, and I think they will just about be getting away. But once again, Andy on their tail. June just about escaping without scout speed this time, but with enough soldiers. And look at this, actually, Enderpearls. They're managing to lock this out in lobby once more. There's a sniper on Boulder, but are MANDEM really going to be able to push this out into second? They're so aggressive on Enderpearls.
They are probably calling it off, yes indeed, and I mean, you can have a deja vu in the end, as Andy is always just, trying to curtail the enemy team and chasing them out, but we might set up for a bit of a stalemate.
First one of the game, we'll see what these teams can muster on last, see if we can get any aggression, see if we can get any kind of sack through. Is it going to be an off class? Is it going to be some mantras? Is it a parachute? What are we thinking? Luca Enderman walking aggressive on this right hand shows are thinking about trying to peek something in, but at the minute it's that sniper that's really going to be a bit of a nuisance for these players trying to bomb through. Actually a big shot in onto Mathis, who's completely destroyed by that sniper bullet. Is going to have to jump back for health. Luca's in, getting killed by a shotgun. Mathis is going to be in as well, landing onto Fancy, goes for the air shot. Does not get the kill, but nice little rocket.
You see, the base desires of explosive damage classes is we can append ourselves into the sky. Perpendicular dominance fashion Nikki is found out by Fancy.
That's a cool hiding spot, I guess. Just like round the corner, expecting someone just to come flying through. But of course it gets checked. MANDEM are way too aware to let that one happen.
And let's see where the next base desires is trailing us.
Big Mathis!
Mathis, what?
Mathis flew straight in, got a kill into Fancy. Now the second soldier's back in. Roach is in auto, going to use the Uber charge to try and fight through because Ryan gets the force in the back line. It looks so good for the sack, but the counter sack from Ryan might just be enough to hang on. June with an Uber charge of her own has to be out to save these 2 scouts. The double scout chariot now. William Boulder fighting tooth and nail, trying to keep hold of this last point. They do just about. But Uber charges will be back to even, and that was a terrifying moment for the MANDEM. The sacks came in. Fancy killed instantly, and I really thought with those other frags going down, I thought Enderpearls could find a way in, but it's Ryan who keeps the door locked and keeps them in this game.
Hold the door, essentially, but it was integral enough. Also, by the way, since we are talking so much about the door, I'm breaking down the 4th wall, and there was a little ring in the background as well, but you didn't even notice this because JMix is just so adept on the camera duties here, but it is integral that there's a little Uber advantage here, even for Enderpearls 20%, and let's send it straight into the last point, trying to overwhelm some more players here, and the stickies are not really presenting with that much of a settlement. Now the Uber comes out, Boulder close to the point, 3 players down, thrown into the meat grinder.
It had to be quick. It had to be really quick from the Enderpearls to push that advantage, and they were all too keen on the idea over from the Enderpearls. Trap getting cleaned up. Luca Enderman gonna try and go behind and nearly gets the kill onto Boulder. Good effort, my friend. Good effort. But Boulder will not be falling victim to tricks like that. At least not in a lower bracket final. So now, going to be MANDEM walking this one in. Andy on the forward spawn sniper could be a bit annoying for these players trying to cross in, but he's cleaned out and locked up. Staying in the spawn for a little bit, actually. Maybe thinking about a re-peek. Just being a nuisance.
Do you think he's reserving that through the grand final? A huge shot by Andy. It switches back into the spawn. It doesn't really net to any advantage here, but I mean, that was definitely some style points at least. And now intransigent enough probably to still battle around through this yard area. There's a lot of ground gain. Rottischer not able to finish off the opposing soldier. Boulder has him ultimately locked out. We've seen this scenario before, but they lost 2 players and only now have a full 100% to feature against the attack.
Enderpearl's maybe getting a little bit panicky there when I'm not sure they necessarily needed to. They're sacking in soldiers to try and like at least get the force on the way in when the option was just there to play the even Uber stalemate on second. Obviously I have to give yard, but Auto was at like 80% when those sacks came in. They didn't have to be that aggressive, but aggressive is what Haunts and Ryan are doing. It's a big couple of rockets there from Haunts on the follow-up bomb. Taken down, respected by Auto, and now with no Ubercharge left to play with, it's going to be a jump into last from Fancy. 4 players dying for the Ubercharge. But this might now be an opportunity for MANDEM to get themselves back in. Second point capped up. Full Uber advantage. No demo for a while. It's going to be aggression from the Enderpearls to try and find something onto June, but she's so safe and far away.
Luca has his own second point locked out though, but that was a very integral pincer maneuver from the Mandems as they completely tore through Nikki and Rottischer, and I think if they stayed alive, could have definitely tried to budge something off while raising a host and still trying to raise a host to, well, just
Auto's 80.
Yeah,
Auto's 80%.
80%. Yeah, that's very important.
Is there time?
It is. And it is definitely enough time. I just wanted to clear up. Otto is not 80 yet. He has 80%. Now he has 100. Now he has 100%. And you see the reflexes, Ben. We are now again turtling up on last. There's a soldier bomb for a soldier.
Nearly hit the crucial air arrow there. Does nearly keep Mathers alive as soldiers trade out 1 for 1. But MANDEM there, they had a good chance with that 4-man sack getting the force, but just so much ground was taken from the Enderpearls. It just bought enough time for that Ubercharge to come back up from Auto. And now it's all these soldier sacks. Last time around, Haunts and Ryan won it out. This time, Roach is going to jump in, get massive damage onto Fancy. Can they follow up any of these damage numbers on the left-hand side? It's chaos in lobby. As MANDEM just have to retreat themselves out for now, get themselves healed back up, and get themselves back in this situation, because they could have lost a lot of players there on that shutter.
They were not able to lay an aggressive claim to the left side. Seen from the defending points POV, now the ham from Zoe comes forth, and maybe he's going ham. But 8.5 minutes here, there's still plenty of time. Rottischer, though, has this game played a long time ago. He's on Spy, he's checking for the off classes. Zoe on the upper hand as well, slowly creeping up to the high ground, to a bit of an unexpected angle, but falls down.
Yeah, it's this play from the Spy, it's so important because we can see where like Auto's positioned now. He's positioned on the low ground right in front of point in the dispenser. It's never anywhere near a sniper sight line unless he has to sort of get peeked around. It's all about now whether the sniper can hit other classes in the supporting cast. Math is the first one to fall, and now 1 soldier down, 1 less doorway being watched, 1 less rocket launcher firing rockets at these players from MANDEM as they try and squeeze their way in. Andy on the counter sniper up, trying to lock out some players. Big flick onto Haunts, nearly gets the shot onto June as well. The shot opens for a millisecond
on Auto, and that is how you lure the enemy demo out and you lure the enemy medic out. And so Zoe is counterclaimed as a frag, but he has already inflicted such a headache to Auto.
Tale of 2 snipers on that fight, and it's going to be Zoe coming up the better of the 2 with the all-important frags at the end. Fabulous kill onto Auto, and now Ubercharge up and ready. They're going to fling in onto last, and MANDEM looking for the 3-1.
They're giving way though as the sentry gun is dealt with, and Nikki also falls, but now everyone is in the sky here, perpendicular dominance fashion once more. Hans is leaping to the left side of the yard, and though it is an absolute destruction here, in the end, the Enderpearls fall. In the end, I've drowned and dreamt not of this moment. It's still close enough here, but 6.5 minutes to go. A 3-1 lead for the MANDEM boys, Ben. For MANDEM.
It's really nice. I will say I was mostly paying attention to what happened with the other sniper. I didn't quite catch what happened with the Zoe peak, but that's the thing. The only way you're reasonably going to catch the medic in those kind of situations when they know there's a sniper on the board is when it gets chaotic, when it gets messy. And it gets messy off the back of that all-important headshot at the start onto the pipe, onto that one soldier, just opens up enough of a gap for MANDEM to start stirring the pot, and stir the pot they did because they managed to find the all-important opening, and Zoe, fabulous at the sniper, never misses an opportunity.
Mathis is already enlightened enough to land on the lamp and now land on Fancy, who's not even aware of him. Otto does live ultimately. So much destruction, so much splash damage, compact into a very confined area. Hans also leaps in behind. It's very difficult to even keep track on where the main damage dealers are coming from, since they're all hiding surreptitiously, out of sight. And now, though, Nikki's charged. It's Hans though bombing in. Otto eradicated.
Fabulous stuff, June. I'm
And he's in
really
behind.
surprised.
They're not aware of
Andy,
him.
no
They're
way.
not aware of Andy.
No, he's beefing. Gets the Uber eventually out of June, which is something. Going to be even Ubers at least for when second becomes available. A lot of cap time on mid actually, which will surprisingly actually work in Enderpearl's favour. Because look at this, they have to like uncap the cap progress that Enderpearls have because it's a mid-fire, and then get themselves capped back up again. MANDEM trying to take yard, and with no Luca Enderman and no Andy, it's possible. But what a mid-fight again from MANDEM.
No Fancy now though, so he was caught out by Mathis on the second point, and they are again trying to raise a host and overwhelm those players. But we've seen that even on a even Uber situation, it is not beyond the faculty of either of those teams to just budge off. Ryan is in behind, he's snuck, he is still sneaking, drawing so many players back.
Getting chased down currently just by Nikki. I believe Roger also in tow trying to come back for this one, and does get taken down. But now it's all about, like, can Enderpearls keep control of this yard? And it looks like they absolutely can. There's no real threat of a repush from MANDEM. They're not really fancying this aggression. But who's fancying aggression?
Does he disrespect Hans? Hans is once more haunting the skies, haunting the crates, haunting Otto. Didn't pop the Uber eventually and just takes a square rocket in his face on 80 HP. And that is a sizzling cacophony.
I really don't quite understand what was going on there. There was one pickup. Maybe just felt they had some space, you know, felt they had a timing up one player, but they just walk it in and just completely disrespect Horns, and Horns will never be disrespected. Hits the fantastic rockets, drop comes out into Auto, and this might be forward on the cards because Fancy's looking ready to bomb straight in with his Uber.
We're going hardcore on the superlatives, and I think they want to go hardcore on the Uber push here, but 150 is detonated on him as the Uber was popped off. It only really impeded his stride for a little bit. Now 3 HP on Rotterdam, but a huge air shot in mid-air, evidently, but they are ripped apart. It is still Luca Enderman, sanguine enough, and putting it all forward. Nikki on the heavy weapons guy has a healing beam attached. Boulder ripped to pieces in the sky. June might not even be able to leave out the... He's hiding. Fancy cannot be dealt with. It's a medic versus medic.
I didn't even know that was an angle that existed, to be quite honest, on the back of the little tyre run last. That's absolutely crazy. How on earth did the Enderpearls stay in this one? Unreal stuff from them. But there's already a hiding soldier, and there is a hiding sneaky class as well, because we've got Zoe going in behind, Horns going in from the front, so it's going to be a bit of a pincer manoeuvre onto this second point, and the decloak ready to come in at a moment's notice. Yes, it's Uber ad for Auto. Can the spy be fast enough?
He is on the eternal reward. He was spotted. He is on 101 HP. Zoe 101 means he is going for the back cap here and trying to thread the needle. So they're so far forward. He's just pulling them back surreptitiously.
Ubercharge used though in the front lines, and that's on Andy getting forced out, I believe, on this middle point. Zoe's still just in a bit of an awkward situation behind, still trying to get this cap going. The soldier turns the corner once more. Surely Zoe's not there. There we go. Finally, the just conclusion occurs on that second point. But what might be another conclusion to think about in a minute is this Ubercharge coming in from June, because midpoint has flipped into the red, but how long will it remain red as Ubercharge gets used out, forced out actually, I believe, from Andy. Big rockets coming in, and Fancy with the pipes. Big cleanup.
Cannot stay alive. They lost 2 players before this Uber was even ruled out, but I mean, I have not reached the final verdict yet. Who are we to adjudicate? So much damage still plugged forward. June keeps alive, and if you have a demo man alive, if you have a scout alive, that works like a charm. Auto on his main medigun, it feels. He's on crits.
Crits for last. I get why he's done it, because it's going to be disad, right? But like, it's not going to be that much disad. I think even with stock Uber, this would have only been about 30 discard. There's a world where you can just hold that anyway, especially like Granary last is a big last. There's lots of ground to cover in the Uber. There's maybe a world he could have got stock up regardless, but this time he's guaranteeing there's going to be a crit sub. So it's all eyes on this post-Uber crits, all eyes on can auto get caught during the push, and all eyes on what Fancy can get on this bomb.
He is bonking his head initially, so this is how this entire push starts with the glaring deficiencies. Is now the crits up onto the heavy, in the hands of the heavy with the Tommy Slav, but ultimately not enough. So much kept them coming, and they are feeling the repercussions of those death match fights. Otto still up alive here, and Nikki is nicking Fancy down into the ground. Elves are nice, but a deathmatch fight win is even better in the end, and Otto switches back to Medigun.
Also switching to Medigun now is like, there is actually a world where they can push this again on MANDEM. I said before, like 30 advantage is like, it's kind of, it's on the borderline. This is going to be closer to 20 advantage, but like MANDEM could absolutely think about just like flinging this in as soon as their Medigun ticks to 100, and also like, okay, should probably get in time for a counter pop eventually, but it's not really clean. But Nikki with the clean shot in onto Boulder, that might stem any ideas of that happening.
Oh, that was so brilliant. I was about to say Nikki can remedy the situation, but that predated that shot, so I am swearing you in. I don't have a third eye, but Rochester already parading on the top point, and now Otto has a full 100% here. There's a sticky detonated onto Fancy, and Ryan still running around frantically on the top, and Nikki on the big earner, but most importantly on the spy, checking for the off classes. Hans giving us the third vision there with the camera taunt, but that was quite close. That is just a tale of a lot of off classes. We see a sniper 1v1.
We do, and we'll see this time around if they can get the same kind of impact from Zoe. Last time around it was, you know, that kill on the soldier up on top, which really opened things up. I want to see if they can be a bit cleaner on the Ender Pearl's side in terms of stopping that from happening. And nope, exactly as I said that, the exact same shot occurs. So nope, no lessons learned at all. The exact identical frag happens. Is it going to be the same again? Are we in like, is this Groundhog Day?
It is Groundhog Day. Do we need to review a demo to see this doesn't happen? There's a soldier leaping into the sky. The shotgun is down, so there's so much feed. Also going down to 6 HP, but Boulder chips him in the end. They are sacrificing 3 players here, and Mathis is charging forward. He was the very first to die to this shot from the sniper, but not able to lay a single finger on Fancy.
Yeah, it was lay some damage over onto Nikki as well. They're trying to get out as live as he just does what he can onto Nikki, excuse me, over on this right hand side. Trying to get out to spawn, does do so. But now, MANDEM once again have a chance into last. This time around though, it's a full advantage, and it's one that they've earned with that really important drop coming in. Like you say, all the cast coming together for that one. But this time around, Fancy the one to jump in, and we're back into another push.
They're not caught in a stupor or trepidation, no, coming forth here, and if they kept this, then this concludes this fight. The lower bracket final, but ultimately, they'll be still brought close to the front line. They are conglomerating up on the point, but no! It's a cap from the double scouts. That was so clutch, but all the MANDEMs with the Cypher, they're all here for the grand final. That was so close. I distinctly recall us hyping up the defenses of the Ender Pearls, but they all stood on the point there, MANDEM, and they were nuked, but it allowed the double scout, and boom, grand final.
It was a close call actually at the end, right? For MANDEM on that push, because they lost a lot of players by the time that double scout cap started coming through. It was looking a little bit dicey towards the like final dying moments, but like you say, the cap time is just enough. And I've got to like credit to Fancy in that Uber charge, because obviously he jumps in, he dies eventually for it, but he makes so much space by bombing over to that right spawn, does so much damage. It's great to see, and yeah, like you say, it just means that these remaining players in the Ender Pearls can't quite squeeze their way onto the point. What a game.
The usual suspects say also, what a game, what a KD. Boulder is a bit more of what I'm used to from this guy. 3.3, he's the leading force, he's calling those Ubers. He also has a lot of accompanying shots fired out by Fancy, but I mean, 23 frags, 7 deaths only. After that, Andy, 22 frags, 12 deaths only, but I mean, a 4-1 is a glaring difference. It was also a glaring difference on Sunshine, so not saying this always ends like this. June with only 4 deaths, which is quite remarkable. Otto with 11. What do you see?
Yeah, I don't want to be too harsh, right? Because like he is one of the best medics in the world, but Auto got caught a lot that game. Sometimes his fault, sometimes not. I will say, but that felt like the big start that differentiates these two teams. Be it on mid fights, be it on last holds, it felt like Enderpearls just couldn't catch June in a way that MANDEM were able to catch Auto. And like this is snipers, this is bombs, this is just getting caught on these like weird transitions, like when they tried to like push in through garage onto mid. Like it felt like Auto was really getting a hard time, particularly from the soldiers. Actually, I will say, like Haunts, I think caught him multiple times.
We can only say they were riven by maybe a better team here. I mean, Horns has close to 1.0 KD, which is also quite significant if you really look at that. I already glared at Otto's medic drops. He has 3 again. So quite hefty. I mean, that is 6 if you just calculate, obviously. I mean, 3 plus 3 is 6. Jun has 0 medic drops herself. And 7 medigun charges out of Otto, only 1 crit streak, and 11 out of June. I don't want to be too harsh. I don't want to pound the rubble too much, but I mean, you already laid the foundation for me, especially on Granary. It was very much defined on sort of getting from mid to second, then Otto and company conceding ground, but it felt, if we had a heat map, I'd say 70% of the time we played on the Enderpearls half.
Yeah, absolutely. And I will say this is the MANDEM we've kind of come to expect on this map number 2. It was a lot cleaner than Sunshine. I know obviously it took a while. They did get pinned back a couple of times off of those mid fights, but every time it was these stalemates, they were finding a way in every single time. It feels like this is a map that they're just comfortable on, to be quite honest. Over on the MANDEM, they've got answers to every stalemate. They've got plenty of strats to roll on, be it snipers, be it soldier sacks, be it demo sacks occasionally. Like it just feels like that their playbook is incredibly deep on Granary. And for a map that's so old and been played, almost played to death over the years, it's impressive to see. And yeah, they're going to have to just get a good rest for a couple of hours now, maybe get some food and prepare themselves, because they need revenge in this grand final tonight. The way they lost last night, they can't have that be like in their memory as they go to LAN. They have to, win tonight, forget about what happened last night in the upper bracket final against Dirty Maggots, and just reset themselves and get ready for that LAN. Because looking at the teams, and obviously Froyo dropping out, like MANDEM, like in the back of their mind, they're thinking they have a chance at winning LAN. I know they're thinking they're one of the top teams.
Oh, definitely.
And they were the top seeds. They absolutely could do it on their day. They just have to make sure that incidents like last night don't happen again.
And admittedly, all the sympathies for Enderpearls out of my mind. I'm also very happy for MANDEM, because you put that into a macro perspective. They want to gain mirth, momentum, enthusiasm, and mindset for the LAN. But you see the timetable schedule here. Strap in. Don't go too far. You can get some foods, some drinks. We still have the progressive overtime rules for the grand final. There are some things that can happen, but we'll have that in around 2-hour time, 2.5-hour time. But for me, unequivocally, bit more sometimes of a more important schedule here is what you see on your bottom. There, Friday 27th February to Sunday the 1st of March, it's the Poland.tf 2026 LAN coming up live from Luge. ! Donate in the chat, whatever you can bear for the expenses. But we have borne no expenses here. Ben, it was a pleasure as always. It was quite an exciting game. JMax was on production. As I said, don't go too far. We will catch you then.